everybody. Welcome to Sport Federation TV. You are back with us. And of course, we keep taking a look at what's happening with sport in the Western Cape. We take a look at the various federations. We also take a look at the various federations across the districts. If you've been watching the show, you'll of course know that the sports structure in South Africa is in fact structured into various provinces and various districts under the guidance of SASCOC. Folks, we are privileged tonight to have on the show with us the president of the Gauteng Provincial Sport Confederation, Mr. Vivian Lottering, and of course Xolani Mathumbo, also from the Gauteng Sport Confederation. It's a first for us. Vivian, welcome to Sport Federation TV.
Thank you, JP, and thank you to the listeners. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be on your show.
Xolani, as having you guys in Cape Town, here in the Western Cape, it's a privilege for us. Welcome.
Great weather. Thanks for having us here. It's been a great week so far.
Vivian, let's start at that. It's been a great week so far. What are you guys actually doing in Cape Town?
JP, we came for the Elite Sports Summit.
Yeah.
That is my first time that I'm attending it. It's where we come and listen to see what's happening with sport worldwide and how we as South Africans can learn from what's happening in the rest of the world. We came to learn and see what is out there and how we can improve sport in our province. It was a great experience. It's my first time, great experience, and I learned a lot.
Did you also attend, Xolani?
We've been attending. Right now I'm from also the Stellenbosch Academy of Sport, where we're seeing them raising the bar in terms of what is out there. And the speakers that we've had local speakers and international speakers, and it was great, quite an interesting summit. I quite enjoyed it, and I learned a lot through this today.
Do you think it's the kind of thing that federations should be looking at?
Most definitely. I think it's also just investing more knowledge on how can we improve and how can we get our federations also to just step one level up. You know, when competing with the best, you need to learn from the best, and what we know, we need to then end here. We need to try implement, and most definitely federations that were there were very much equipped.
So Vivian, I mean, he says we must learn from the best. I like to think that South African sport is the best.
I also used to think that, JP. I also used to think that we are the best. We are the best when it comes to rugby. And I think a lot of sports structures can learn from rugby, but that's not what South African sport is all about. There are so many other sports. We've got 76 sporting codes, Olympic codes.
Yeah.
And what I've learned this weekend is I realized that for us to compete at the international platform, there's a lot of work that we need to do as a country, specifically when it comes to investing finance into making things better.
Is that something that came across, Xolani, is looking after the investors, the corporates, and finding new ways to target them?
In fact, one of the questions I challenged the current Bafana coach was that in South Africa we've got a campaign called Take a Girl Child to Work. I think it's about time we start a campaign to say take a girl football club or a girl sporting code as a corporate and grow it, because this is the only way we can measure ourselves with the rest of the world, because they really, USA started a campaign, men and women will be paid the same, irrespective of the code, and this is one way of growing sport throughout. But like the president has said, we also have to look into best practices, and rugby's been doing it for a couple of years, yet our federations are not taking the time and the liberty to say, how are you doing it right? Can we take what you've learned and start implementing it? Then we can attract the same type of corporate they are attracting. I mean, they are attracting big sponsors because they are winning World Cups, but we're struggling in many other codes. And this is one way of saying, let us get together, learn from each other, but look at what international is doing, where we're lacking. Let's come together and try to grow the sport so that we can keep corporate investing back into sport.
Vivian, tell us a little bit about the Gauteng Provincial Sport Confederation. You're obviously in Gauteng, but like any of the provinces, you've also got a number of districts that you have to look after there.
Yeah, JP, in short, the Gauteng Sports Confederation got 55 different sporting codes as members of us, and then we got 5 district sports confederation, Johannesburg, Xolani, Xolani, Sedibeng, and West Rand.
All new names.
All new names.
All new names.
All new names based on the new demographics.
Yes. Vivian, you guys also, as the Gauteng Confederation, you have a lot of projects that you tackle. You don't seem to hold back from new initiatives. Just speaking to your general manager from Gauteng, Mr. Yassine Lombard, earlier today, was telling me that you've got a project called Tricolor, where you've got international relations, but you guys are not shy of projects.
Absolutely, JP. Gauteng, we believe we're the house of champions, or province of champions, and we need to think out of a box and do things completely different. We need to build relationships in order for us to grow the sport, and give exposure to us previously disadvantaged people.
Yeah.
One of our key objectives and responsibilities in the National Sports Plan is to make sure that we develop sport from grassroots to high performance. And this relationship that we have with the Italians is a way of giving opportunities to the poorest of the poor, people that has never had opportunity to represent their district or the province. And the Tricolore Games is designed so we can give these kind of kids an opportunity.
Do you end up having to get in your car? I mean, you're at a sport house, but do you have to get in the car and go visit federations and visit games on the weekend?
Most definitely. Unfortunately, that is part of the job and it's part of the task we've agreed to take upon ourselves. And to get the best talent, unfortunately, JP, you've got to drive down and find, you know, Gauteng is the home of champions, but it's also got rural areas within Gauteng where you've got to drive down and see what's happening every weekend. And when you get that child, try to put him in a program that will at least elevate him to get to a lead program. So unless we do go down there, we will not get our raw diamonds so that we can start polishing.
Vivian, but there's many aspects that you guys also have to think about. You also have to build relationships with the other provinces, and you have to have dialogue with sport across the country to see what best practices are. Can you learn from each other? That must also be a challenge.
Absolutely, JP, and that's a key factor for us. In order for us to be the best, we need to learn from other provinces. That's one of the reasons we in Western Cape, to come and learn from what you guys are doing here, specifically with regard to academies. We have engaged the KwaZulu-Natal Sports Confederation. We speak to most of the presidents in the other sports confederations to find out how do they do things and where can we learn and what can we share as a Gauteng Sports Confederation, so that we are all singing from the same hymn book in order to give one message and say this is line of march.
Yeah. Xolani, thanks for joining us. It's fantastic to have you here in the Western Cape, and we're looking forward to getting you guys back here.
Most definitely, and like I always say, a child in sport will be a child that will never see court. Yeah. So let's get our kids playing sport. And
Vivian, it's a privilege for us to have you here, the President of Gauteng, gracing us with your presence, and fantastic to have. We trust you've enjoyed it, and to you as well. We look forward to having you back, and best of luck with the Confederation in Gauteng.
Thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure to be on your show, and I want to leave the show with this message: sport can change the life of our people. Thank you, JP.
100%. Right, folks, rare privilege for us to have the Gauteng sport leadership here in studio with us, and we'll of course keep taking a look at our activities of our various federations. We're looking forward to it. Folks, when we come back after the break, it's time for us to touch base with Western Cape Karate. They're on their way to Turkey, where they'll be competing in the Cadet Championships, and a little bit later in the year, it's the African Championships in Durban. We'll see you after break. Don't go away.